All right, welcome to another episode of Driving with Slip. I'm your boy Slip. Please find me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you find your free podcasts. Shout out to nobody because apparently nobody wants to sponsor me yet. So hopefully that comes in soon. Make sure you rate, subscribe, and review. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions. I want to make this thing better. But that's not why you're here today. You're here today because if I'm a predict, y'all are asking one question. Is it time to ring the alarm? Are the Braves in trouble? No, the Braves are not in trouble. Are they in more trouble than they were a month ago? Yes. But a month ago, they were also 12 games up. A month ago, they were also on a fantastic record-setting pace. And, I think we all looked at this team and was like, I don't know if this is a record-setting pace team. And it's fair to say they need some pieces. They don't have a DH. They don't have a consistent corner outfielder or consistent DH or consistent shortstop. I don't know, whichever one Dubon is not playing in. And those are two big holes. On top of that, when you have your third baseman not hitting and your catcher that was hitting at a MVP level not hitting at all, those things are going to happen. That MVP level catcher turned into two beyond below or way below replacement player players. Oh, I was correct with that. And then now Drake Baldwin, I guess it's ready for Falcon season, isn't it? Drake Baldwin is not hitting either. So yeah, that is what's going to happen. And the Braves don't need to ring the alarm. They need to get right. They've shown that they have the capabilities of doing a lot of things. And right now, I think the worst case scenario is happening. We've had a couple injuries that's really affecting the lineup that made a good, bench turn into a terrible bench. It made a lineup that was a threat into one that was a threat every now and then. And it made a rotation that was a number one rotation to a bottom of the barrel rotation where we're not sure what is going to go on. We got people piggyback on one another. We got a guy that was pitching at an all-star level, pitching at a guy who needs to be in AAA. We can't give our ace any run support. I mean, honestly, after a month of the best and a lot of great things happening, we've had a month of the worst with a lot of terrible things happening. And I just chalk it up to this is baseball. I think that a couple things can happen after this. Like, I'm not going to ring the alarm. We're going to see what kind of team this team is actually, July is in a couple days. And we have one more game in June, which can't end soon enough. And, of course we can't just separate a baseball season by months, but it's just one of those things where it's just like, thank God this month is over and we can start anew. Sometimes that is helpful. But the biggest thing that right now is that the Braves are somewhere in the middle between this, historic team and this mediocre team. Because even with them being mediocre, they've beaten good teams and they've lost to kind of bad teams and mediocre teams. So they're probably somewhere in the middle. I still think they are a playoff team. I think they still can be I still think they can be a division winning team. I don't think the Phillies are that great. I think they're good, and we should have expected them to be good and possibly very good, but I don't think they're great. They weren't great last year. I think they are worse this year. Have they been on a hot streak? Yes. Their hot streak is about just as hot as ours was, and their cold streak was worse than what ours is. And this is what you get. You get a team that is 3 games ahead of the Phillies. And that's just what it is. I think anybody expecting the Braves to just completely run away with this thing was kind of unrealistic. I mean, we got to be honest that we were talking about a month and a half. And yes, they carried the best season in the majors for a long time. And they're still a really good team. They had the potential to be a very good team. And so that's why I'm not ringing the alarm. It's not the time to ring that bell. I don't know if we're ringing the alarm. I don't know if we're ringing the bell. I don't know if we're pushing the panic button. Whatever you want to use. Whatever bell you have, whatever button you have, whatever alarm you ring, don't do it. Keep it an off button, okay? Because we have to be honest with ourselves that even when, the worst of the worst happens, that we're not that bad. And even when the best of the best happens, that we're not that good. And that's okay. That does not mean that we're suddenly in this panic spot. I do think the Braves need to make some moves. And I think the Braves need to be honest about what they have. Because right now, what they have is, a lineup that's not as strong as it once was. And I don't think anybody should have expected Dom Smith to carry that out. I think I said this at the beginning that, I don't think he was going to do that. Now, he's still a pretty good hitter. And I think that he can do some things, but I think we need to be a more complete team. I think Yastrzemski is not doing anything close to what we expected him to do. And I think all we expected him to do was to be an average player. He's not an average player right now. He's a definite below average player. And it's at some point you got to say, are we going to play Eli White or not? Are we going to give this guy a chance or not? Eli White's defense is good enough. He's gonna save some runs. I think he'll have pop every now and then. I think he got us to take better at bats, but better at bats will come with more time. His at bats are definitely better than Ha-Seong Kim's. His at bats are better than Mateo's right now. I mean, I think that's the guy that you got to give a chance to. But at some point we just can't keep flipping and flopping. And we got to give guys time. I think they've given Ha-Seong Kim way enough time. I think they've given him enough time way back then. I don't blame them for giving him more time. But at some point, you got to say, this guy ain't got it. And maybe he'll play every now and then when you need to, or he'll come in late as a defensive sub. But right now, he doesn't have it. He needs to sit down. He needs to work on some stuff. He cannot keep doing what he's doing, because even with Mateo striking out at a rate that he typically did in his career, and even Eli White sometimes having great games, sometimes having terrible games, it's still a lot better than what you're getting from Ha-Seong Kim. We can say that Ha-Seong Kim got unlucky at times, but like there's no consistency with his at-bats. Like it seems like he runs into like unlucky at-bats. It seems like he has plenty of terrible at-bats, but I don't see good at-bats. And that's even with him walking. Like, I feel like the only time I've seen him walk is when he starts with a 3-0 count. Like, anybody can walk in that situation. Anybody. So, I don't know. Maybe I should stop hating on Ha-Seong Kim as much, but like, goodness gracious, he's been hateable. And, I'm not saying hate the man, but I'm saying, like, if you want to hate on somebody and the way of someone being a hater, I wouldn't blame anybody for hating on him. And I hope nobody blames me for hating on him. And if you do blame me for hating on him, I want to see the evidence on why I shouldn't. Show me that guy. And if that guy can actually prove it, then that guy needs to be a lawyer. Because ain't no way in heck that someone mediocre or that can't be a great lawyer is going to make that argument. Or at least not winning it. The thing is, we got Rowdy Tellez up here. And I don't know. I see Dom Smith and Rowdy Tellez as the same person. I just do. I kind of see Eli White and Jorge Mateo as the same person, just in different positions. But something needs to happen. I think it's just the idea of stability in this lineup that I think the team is missing. And without that stability, it's tough to put people in places where they're going to succeed the most. I think the biggest thing about Yastrzemski that was happening when he was doing a lot better was he was typically only hitting against right-handed hitters. And that's happening, he's had a little bit more at-bats against lefties, but not that much, but he's still having more than he was. You were able to have that platoon with Eli White and Yastrzemski. But now, like, those abilities to pinch hit those guys in the positions where they need is putting Walt Weiss in some situations. As well as something's going on with this bullpen. People are getting injured. People aren't able to be ready when you need them to be, or they aren't available. Not that I think they're always ready when they need to be. I don't think they're available when we really need them, and I think that has cost us at least 2 games. And that's a problem. It can't be costing us as many games as it has. However, I'm not looking at those games that it's cost as the reason why the Braves are in this position. The reason why the Braves are in this position is because they're just not hitting. And they're not hitting with consistency. They're not hitting with runners in scoring position. And they're not hitting well with runners on base with less than 2 outs. It's the same stuff that I was talking about yesterday, honestly. The only thing about this is that we lost the series to the Giants, which would mean we lost the season series to them. Apparently, the Braves can't hit Robbie Ray. But yeah, it's just that's honestly the biggest thing is there hasn't been stability. And this is what instability within all those places look like. I think the biggest thing is that this is what happens during the season. And this is just an unfortunate time. And that's the main reason why I'm not pushing any buttons. I'm not ringing any alarms. And I'm not shaking down any bells. Is that what you do to? I think you ring bells. You ring the alarm. I think honestly, with the alarm, you can't push the button for the alarm, or you can ring the alarm. Maybe you can even flip a switch. The biggest thing, there's no need to do any of that. It was a tough month. We got to see how this team responds. And honestly, what this team needs to not do, they need to don't slip.